What at first looked like a heartbreaking mishap soon turned into an intricate probe, where electronic traces became key in uncovering the reality. Come along as we go over the sequence of events, look at the persons of interest, and explore how justice finally prevailed. Let's start. Morgan was found unresponsive inside her vehicle, leading her boyfriend to dial emergency services right away. To crack this case, authorities had to collect proof from the location and follow the electronic trails the offender left. In 2020, she was 29 years old. She resided in Plain Township, Stark County, Ohio, alongside her boyfriend and her 9-year-old daughter. That little girl meant everything to her. Morgan went to great lengths to provide her child with whatever was required. At that point, she held the position of operations manager at FedEx. She lost her life in a devastating event that took place in the early hours of October 28, 2020. Her boyfriend came upon her in the garage at their residence, sitting in her SUV. The door on the driver's side stood open, and she had an injury to her head. He promptly phoned 911, stating she had no heartbeat and voicing worry that she might have suffered a blow to the head. When law enforcement reached the site, rain was falling, an unfortunate factor that can quickly ruin vital clues. Morgan seemed partly inside and partly outside the car. Her purse was still with her, and nothing indicated a robbery. Cash was visible in the vehicle too, yet the culprit hadn't touched it. Officers spotted a bullet hole in the passenger side door, making it evident she had been shot. On the adjacent property, they noticed recent tire impressions in the grass and mud marks on a fence, though it wasn't immediately obvious if these related to the crime. After moving Morgan's body from the SUV, police found 2 gunshot wounds, one behind her left ear and another at the crown of her head. It looked as though the shooter had come close as she was entering her car and fired at point-blank range. Now detectives had the challenge of figuring out who carried out this ruthless and deliberate attack. Various objects lay scattered near her vehicle on the ground, among them Morgan's cell phone. Devices like that frequently contain vital details in such investigations, so officers collected it as evidence, praying the downpour hadn't ruined it. Morgan's mother informed detectives that she had talked with her daughter by phone the evening prior to the tragedy. Investigators inquired if Morgan had any known adversaries, whether her relationship with her boyfriend was steady, or if anyone might have wished her harm. Her mother shared that although Morgan and her boyfriend had faced difficulties before, their situation had improved lately. She also noted that Morgan had dealt with issues involving certain male colleagues at work. In investigations of this nature, authorities usually start by scrutinizing those nearest to the victim. Accordingly, police spoke with Morgan's boyfriend, the one who had found her and placed the emergency call. He explained that he and Morgan had shared a home for roughly a year. Though he wasn't the biological father of her daughter, he described their partnership as positive. He added that Morgan was due to begin her shift at 2:30 a.m. that morning. Normally, she would rise around 1 a.m. and depart shortly after 2 a.m., allowing her sufficient time to reach her job on schedule. Her boyfriend said he awoke around 6 a.m. and was surprised to see her car still in the driveway. Worried, he stepped outside to look and discovered her lifeless in the vehicle. He called 911 without delay. Throughout the interview, he came across as deeply shaken and tearful. He appeared sincerely devastated by her passing and showed readiness to assist the inquiry. Detectives observed that he didn't seem to be concealing anything. He mentioned that the previous day, Morgan had left her daughter at her grandmother's place, as she usually did before night shifts. Then she came back home, ate dinner, and retired for the night. Investigators paid close attention to one particular point the boyfriend mentioned. He said Morgan had recently had a confrontation with some male coworkers who had taken her phone from her workspace. When she got back to her desk, she reportedly found them examining her private pictures and information. Angry, she challenged them, sparking a dispute. With scant physical proof at the scene, detectives shifted to another possibility: video recordings from surrounding residences. Officers went house to house in the area, seeking out security systems. They located several hidden peephole-style cameras, which at first appeared promising. Sadly, that optimism faded quickly. The recordings obtained showed nothing out of the ordinary. Yet one positive development emerged when they confirmed Morgan's phone had withstood the rain and remained operational. Reviewing her texts, they saw the final contact was with her boyfriend. Detectives examined Morgan's messages and concluded her relationship with him looked steady. On October 8, only 20 days before her death, she had messaged him regarding the workplace incident, describing how some colleagues had taken her phone and viewed its contents. She suspected they had seen private images. After going through those exchanges, investigators felt assured the boyfriend had been truthful with them. To pursue the workplace concerns, they visited her employer. They had tips from 2 different sources about conflicts with colleagues. When speaking to her supervisor, they verified the phone incident had taken place and involved 3 male staff members. Reviewing those employees' records, detectives uncovered something alarming. Of the 3 under review, 2 were soon eliminated as improbable culprits. But the third person set off major alarms. This worker, 29-year-old Jason McDermott, had earlier been formally reprimanded for harassing a female colleague, and the conduct continued despite her requests to stop. Considering Morgan usually left home around 2 a.m. for her 2:30 a.m. shift, investigators determined the act occurred sometime in that interval, as she never left the driveway. To track Jason McDermott's whereabouts, police obtained workplace CCTV. The footage showed he didn't arrive until 2:58 a.m., almost half an hour late, and entered via the rear entrance. Due to that timing, Jason McDermott emerged as the main suspect. He wasn't present at work during the critical window. Per his supervisor, McDermott acted normally after finishing his shift at 9:58 a.m. that day. FedEx verified his employment and later released a statement offering sympathy. "We continue to extend our deepest condolences to the family and friends of our team member, Morgan Fox, following this tragic event. FedEx Ground is fully cooperating with law enforcement in their investigation." One source disclosed that Morgan had previously ended things with McDermott, leaving him quite distressed. In response, he penned her an apology note and got an informal warning at work. He was told any further issues would result in dismissal. Meanwhile, Morgan's loved ones grappled with not knowing the culprit. Her sister posted on social media, pleading for anyone with details to reach out to police. Someone might have been close by and noticed or heard something crucial. Every bit of info could matter. At the same time, Morgan's 9-year-old daughter had to absorb the devastating loss of her mom. Detectives kept probing her coworkers, re-examining her phone for any exchanges showing someone had misread her intentions or viewed her private photos without consent. In their review, they uncovered letters from Jason McDermott. Authorities found this material significant. Roughly a year earlier, Jason had brought her breakfast at work and written that he would always support her. Morgan replied appreciatively, saying she valued the kind act. Messages indicated she viewed him purely as a friend, whereas he desired something more. On October 8, after he and others accessed her phone, her attitude toward him shifted. She sent him stern texts voicing her lack of trust. The next day, she phoned him to address the matter. Though he apologized, Morgan wanted no further contact and remained distant. They hadn't communicated since October 24, 4 days before her death. When Jason messaged asking about her time in Columbus, she replied in surprise, "How do you know that?" She had been there with family and was startled he knew. He claimed she had mentioned it. But after that conversation, she hardly spoke to him again. Police also found no texts on her phone suggesting she had told him about Columbus. Suspecting Jason McDermott might have been tracking her, authorities brought him in for an interview. He agreed to respond fully. Asked if he and Morgan had ever dated, he denied it, calling her a friend he cared for. He acknowledged briefly wondering if his feelings were romantic but decided they weren't. When asked if he knew anyone who might harm her, he said no. Confronted directly, "Did you shoot Morgan Fox?" He strongly denied it. He also allowed police to examine his cell phone. Investigators hoped his device would reveal evidence confirming or contradicting his account. Their main focus was his phone's location data on the night of the crime. If it placed him near her home, then he would be the top suspect. The data showed his phone stayed near his home from 4 p.m. on October 27 until 2:48 a.m. on October 28, when he headed to work. This implied he remained home during the relevant time. The forensics team took his phone to pull all data, including deleted items. While awaiting those findings, an anonymous caller tipped them to watch a man named Mark, possibly someone Morgan had been linked with. Police questioned Mark, who said they were just co-workers. His phone review yielded nothing pertinent, and his alibi checked out, so he was cleared. As the case moved forward, all other persons of interest were excluded except Morgan's boyfriend and co-worker Jason McDermott. But McDermott drew the strongest suspicion, prompting detectives to zero in on him. They found him at his parents' residence before taking him for more questioning. Officers noted his car had recently been cleaned and was in the garage. This seemed strange, given the rain the day before and lingering wet conditions. They questioned why he washed it. Later, a source said Jason had stopped at a gas station and car wash after his shift on October 28. CCTV from the gas station showed him going straight to the wash afterward. But his actions appeared peculiar. He thoroughly scrubbed the rear wheel areas, then cleaned them once more. This seemed excessive, especially with wet roads still around. After the wash, he drove by the store without entering, pulled over instead, exited, and meticulously checked his Ford, circling it completely. Specialists later matched the crime scene tire tracks to those from McDermott's vehicle, shedding light on his intense cleaning of the tires. Police spoke with acquaintances, who all knew about the phone incident. They noted that after Morgan distanced herself, Jason became profoundly upset. His efforts to regain her attention visibly altered his demeanor. As authorities monitored him, they learned he attended a vigil close to Morgan's home. He even shared a photo from it online with an emotional caption and hashtag #JusticeForMorgan. In the post, McDermott wrote, "I wish I had time to list all the ways you have changed my life. The list would be so long we'd never reach the end. Whenever I had a bad day, I knew I could always come to you as a friend. It feels so strange not being able to talk to you, and this has left a huge hole in my heart." He continued, "But I know you will always be watching over us, your family, your friends, and your daughter. You changed all of our lives for the better, and we will never forget you." Investigators recovered substantial data from McDermott's phone, including deliberately erased files. His search history indicated frequent visits to adult sites, pointing to an intense preoccupation. He often discussed Morgan with others and kept numerous photos of her. Though he had reached out to various women online and arranged some meetings, records showed he eventually stopped pursuing others to focus entirely on Morgan Fox. He meticulously monitored her life. From the summer of 2020, McDermott secretly recorded her at work on his phone. One clip captured her at home in the kitchen washing dishes, filmed without her knowledge as he sat nearby. The recordings and images made clear she was unaware of being observed. Jason McDermott was evidently fixated on Morgan, but she pulled away after catching him viewing her photos. Perhaps realizing he could never have her, he chose that no one else should. Though police already suspected his character, they required proof tying him to the scene. A traffic camera provided that, showing his Ford approaching Morgan's residence at 1:38 a.m. At 2:17 a.m., he turned around and left. By then, Morgan was deceased. He was taken into custody a week after her death. During the vehicle search, no firearm was recovered. Officials believe McDermott positioned his car precisely where the tracks appeared later. As Morgan entered her SUV, he waited outside, approached, and shot her twice in the head. He then hurried back to his vehicle and fled. In his haste, he smeared mud on a white fence. He intentionally left his phone behind but retrieved it afterward. Post-shooting, he drove directly to his job. Morgan's stepsister, Megan Barrett, stated she knew nothing of McDermott until his arrest. She described his social media tributes as deeply unsettling. "If he truly took Morgan's life, I think he's a very sick person. Someone seriously troubled who takes pleasure in others' pain." She noted, this all began in April 2021. Throughout proceedings, McDermott insisted on his innocence and chose not to testify. His attorney, Ty Graham, contended the probe was misguided from the start, focusing on the incorrect individual. Graham told the jury, "He's a young man who doesn't cause trouble. He works long hours, then goes home and sleeps." Graham explained that McDermott discovered two FedEx colleagues with Fox's phone on October 8 and admitted joining them and looking through it. He also wrote Fox an apology letter. Graham questioned how her boyfriend, inside the house, could miss hearing 2 gunshots from under 10 yards away. McDermott willingly gave police his DNA, vehicle, phone, and parents' address without prompting. The defense highlighted that McDermott's father possessed multiple firearms, but McDermott lacked access to them. The judge determined McDermott was accountable for stalking Morgan Fox and ultimately taking her life. Prior to sentencing, Morgan's family members expressed their feelings. The individual convicted of this grave offense would serve life imprisonment. Although Judge Natalie Haupt could have permitted parole eligibility after 23 years, she declined it. She declared, "While you have no prior criminal history, I believe there is a risk you will commit another offense, and there is a need to protect the public." FedEx reached a settlement with Morgan's family for $4 million, with $1,300,000 designated for the attorneys involved. Around $2 million went into a trust and structured account for her daughter's future needs. The remaining funds were distributed to 6 Fox family members, including her parents, totaling about $650,000. Thanks to this agreement, Morgan's daughter can pursue many experiences her mother would have desired for her. Court filings from the estate detail these aspirations, such as ongoing golf instruction, enrollment at a top university, and a lovely wedding. Thank you for joining this detailed examination of the heartbreaking case of Morgan Fox. It was electronic evidence combined with the tireless work of investigators that finally delivered justice for her killer. If this story captured your interest, please like the video and subscribe to the Hidden Cases files. We share crime stories every night. Until next time, stay sharp, stay vigilant.